Welcome along to Castle Combe, the venue for the fourth round of the Vortex Dunlop Ford Fiesta Championship. And before we get racing underway, a visit to the paddock to talk to Championship Manager Kevin Shortis.
Yeah, it's a new initiative this year that I formed a liaison with Ian Scruton, who is a competitor in our Fiesta SI class. We have been concerned that we seem to be lacking a few easy ways to get people into the most cost-effective racing, which is Fiesta racing, of course. And we've come up with this idea called Foundation Racing Start at the Front, which I thought was quite a unique way and perspective of approaching things. So we've set up Foundation Racing, Ian runs it, and I'm lending support from Ford Racing. And the idea really is to guide people into the tricky situations of race days, how to get licences, how to get yourself started and involved in motorsport, and literally on the weekend's event, where to go, when to go, and what to do. And it's surprising, it is quite difficult for somebody who's never been used to come into a race meeting. So that's what we're hoping to achieve.
Much bigger grids as well.
That would be a spin-off, but there are so many cars, the older class of cars that are in garages, they're no good in garages. We want them out racing. So of course, yes, there will be a bigger grid, but that's not the main intention of doing it. The main intention is to help people new to motorsport, new to Fiesta racing, to come out and enjoy themselves, but with an arm round the shoulder, metaphorically speaking, to guide them on their way. Yeah, the information is very easy to get. We've got our own website, www.fordracing.eu. And of course, there is also the Foundation Racing website, where there's a link from the main Ford Racing website. So very simple.
It's a great initiative to get drivers on the circuit, and I think Ian Scruton's phone's been ringing, and we should see the fruits of that throughout the season. Charlie Liddell, though, the former junior champion, on pole. Matt Foley alongside, Andrew Foley and Dan Holland on row 2, and David Elsley and Nathan Lawley row 3. They're followed by Andrew Taylor and Rory Green. Then it's Bobby Thompson and Sean Clay, Curtis Mitchell and Simon Horrobin in 12th. 13th on the grid, Lee Napolitano, then Aaron Trigwell and Nick Bowers. Nick Pope alongside him, followed by Jordan Annels and Rex Nye. 19th is Kevin Sterling, then Jamie Going, Ronaldo Stabressa and Sagir Hussain. The Danoff cars on row 11, Dawn Boyd and David Abbott next, David in the D-Class car, then it's Joanne Eason and Nick Barton, Simon Roud and Ian Scruton 28, then Andrew Mollison and Alan Donnelly, Ken Bateman, Keith Chapman, Mike Hooper and Peter Dendy Sadler complete an incredible 34 car grid. Now most of the circuits in the UK can't cater for this many cars, and this I think is the only one we're going to visit this year where every single car that's available. And there are some drivers who for whatever reason not been able to make it to Castle Combe due to work commitments or perhaps repairing cars, things like that. So but 34 cars, an incredible grid, 4 classes of car racing, predominantly Class C, the STs there at the front. We've got a lone Class D car again driven by David Abbott, the A and B boys as well. But Charlie Liddell, the reigning Fiesta Junior champion, and if there's proof needed of what a great championship the Fiesta Juniors are, Charlie Liddell comes out of it, and he got 4th position in race number 1 of the season, and now gets a pole position here at what is a real driver's track. But Liddell not getting off the line too well, and it's a great start by Matt Foley, who leads them down towards Foley for the first time. Foley in front, David Elsley trying to come through the field as well. It's going to be very difficult to pick everyone up. I love the all Danoff row. That was like team formation racing for Ronnie De Bresser and Sagir Hussain, but here come the leaders. There's Charlie Liddell. We're on board with David Elsley. Now Matt Foley has had a great start. We're looking at car number 24, Lee Napolitano, and already the car's trying to make progress. Elsley former champion, that's Simon Horrobin in the car in front of Lee Napolitano. Now 2 chicanes. This is a very, very fast circuit, Castle Combe. It usually throws up a few surprises, and the circuit a very fast track as well, which has had to be slowed down in recent years. Get on with it, said Elsley. Well, I think David could probably go and do a pass really to get on with it. You need to make your own speed a lot of the time in racing, but David, a former champion, I wonder if that's a result of maybe having a chat in the paddock about race tactics. Look at the field coming through. As I said, it's one of the fastest circuits in the UK, which was punctuated by the addition of 2 chicanes a few years ago to slow things down. We're getting a great look at the field. The Class A and B cars going through. And Ronaldo's Tebresses, I think, has had a little bit of an off. It's very slippery out there, as you can see. And the field already starting to get a little bit spaced out. As past Napolitano goes David Elsley. So Elsley makes up a position. And we look down the road. Still in front at the moment is Matt Foley, qualified second. So we've already had a little bit of a change. Bobby Thompson's made some progress off the grid as well, which is good to see. Bobby had a podium in the previous round. So David Elsley, who had and that's Charlie Liddell off. The poleman's gone off the circuit. Oh, bitter disappointment how quickly fortunes can turn around, and we were hoping for a good position for him here. So the cars go through Bobby's, the chicane, and continue in this very early stage. 2 20-minute races, of course, the BRSCC running it. It's 1.6 miles, this circuit, so not necessarily the longest circuit they do, but certainly one of the fastest, particularly in dry conditions, as Bobby Thompson comes through and takes the lead. Bobby Thompson passes Matt Foley, the teenager, from our look. The rest of them are going in for the drifting championship. Simon Horrobin runs wide. This is the view as we wait the race leaders to come in. We're going to have a little look back down the field. There's problems there for car number 55, Ken Bateman. Ken second in Class B coming into this meeting, having big problems. It is so slippery out there. Now, will we get the safety car? If things get worse, I suspect that we're probably okay at the moment. Kevin Sterling running just ahead of Rory Green in the 63 car, and then Rex Nye in the red 44. Running down the order, Rex qualified in 18th place. Problems there for one of the Danoff cars. I think it was possibly Sagir who's got off. Sagir Hussain, championship Park Championship sponsor, on board with Andrew Foley. So past Sagir's car, and you can see how hard the drivers are working. So Andrew Foley at the moment in third. We're looking at his brother Matt. The pair of them run by the reigning champion Jason Cooper, who is a Castle Combe expert, so we really would expect these guys to be at the front, challenging for the lead. But at the moment, Bobby Thompson, the young Carter, another product of the Fiesta Junior Championship, did a couple events in the juniors last year. Oh, look at the big moment there for Foley. Andrew Foley getting it all sideways. Well, he keeps it on the track. That's the mark of a great driver. Going back to the Class B cars, Ken Bateman and Keith Chapman very much hard at it. Those two have been trading wins throughout the course of the season so far, and enjoying their outing, I think, here at there's David Abbott, you can see in the black, and off goes Joanne Eason. Joanne Eason's off. Through on the inside goes the number 5 car of Jordan Annells, but it's the 6 machine that's off the circuit. Disappointment for one of our 2 lady racers who's off the track. There's Bobby Thompson leading. Then it's the Foleys. At the moment, Matthew leading Andrew. David Elsley in 4th place. Then it's Simon Horrobin. Following Simon Horrobin, 24, Lee Napolitano. Then it's Kevin Sterling. 63 is Rory Green. 94 goes through shot. That is Aaron Trigwell. Then the number 9 car of Dan Holland, who's lost a little bit of ground on where he was in qualifying. Dan qualified in 4th place. As off, I think that's Ian Scruton who's gone off. He'll get it back on. A very quick recovery. This probably Ian Scruton's home circuit. Not entirely sure. Have to work out the geography of all that. Scruton incidentally leading Class A in the championship by 20 points from Alan Donnelly. And Simon Horrobin it was there, the black car with the red and white stripe, who's had the off and again rejoins. Lots of them doing it. Oh, the drifting championship continues. Andrew Foley, a terrific save from him there as he heads down into the S's, coming out of Quarry Corner that was. So Bobby Thompson, look at the lead that he's putting on. This is incredible. Bobby Thompson qualified 9th, and he's absolutely mastering these wet conditions. A 3rd generation racer, car prepared by his dad, and the move from karts is really down to cost. This is cheaper than car. Red flags. Well, we've got several cars off the circuit and it's been deemed that the race is being stopped, and I really feel for Bobby Thompson because he had a huge lead and was mastering the conditions ahead of Matthew and Andrew Foley. We've got Rex Knight in the barriers. Hopefully Rex is okay. It was Sagir saying see the number 1 on the car now, and now we're stationary, so Sagir's off, Rex Knight is off, and that means that the cars will reassemble on the grid and we will see a restart to the proceedings once everything has been sorted out. So not the way we necessarily wanted to start this weekend's action here at Castle Combe. 2 races. Normally we get a separate race for the A, Bs and Ds because the grids can't cope with the sheer number of cars that we have in the Vortex Dunlop Fiesta Championship. But Castle Combe can. It's licensed for that many cars. There's David Abbott who pulls up. Now Charlie Liddell is there, car number 32. You can see the damage on the car after the glance in the barriers, but he got going again. So Charlie will get a second bite of the cherry in the second part of the race. And Bobby Thompson will have, well, I wonder if it will be pressure starting at the front in the restart, which we will be able to come to after this very short break.
Want to keep up with all the racing action at the track? Well, download the new Go Racing TV iPhone and Android app. And remember to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Welcome back to Castle Combe. We're about to restart the first race of Event 4 of the Championship. The driver's busy changing to wet tyres. Just see Ian Scruton there taking off one of the drier tyres and getting ready to put on the wets. He's in a bit of a hurry because the cars are coming out of the holding area, so some real urgent work going on down in the holding area to get the cars out. Cars now on the grid and ready for the restart. Bobby Thompson starting on pole. He was leading the race at the red flag, the end of part 1. Alongside him we've got Matt Foley in the blue and yellow car, and then Andrew Foley, his brother, on the inside of row 2. David Elsley on the outside, the former champion, and then Simon Horobin in the black car with the red and white stripes just to the right of shot on the 3rd row. David Abbott in the mix as well in the Ford Fiesta C-Tech S. Looking forward to having a little bit of competition. I think the rest of the season, James Appleby, who gave him a very good run for his money at Silverstone in Event 3. So that class set to grow. And still a big field. 2 lights on now, 3, 4, getting ready to race. Part 2 of the 7th race in the 2013 season underway. Bobby Thompson gets bogged down. He's passed by Simon Horobin, and it's Matt Foley leading. David Elsley in 2nd place. Great start by Horobin. Good start too by Lena Politano through the spray. This is very, to my mind, this looks even more difficult than the first race. So that should benefit Thompson, although he did get not the best of starts. There is David Elsley, I think, into 2nd, followed by Napolitano, Andrew Foley, then Horobin, Sean Clay in the mix as well. Then it's Bobby Thompson. Through they go, a terrific field. Ian Scruton there in the yellow car, just going out of shot, who leads Class A at the moment. And down through the S's for the first time. This wonderful circuit down through Old Paddock Bend. David Elsley in 3rd place, at 2nd position at the moment. Lena Politano running in 3rd. Then it's Andrew Foley from Thompson and Horobin. It looks like they've all seemed to have got away safely. Ronaldo Stabressa in the mix, 69 Danoff car goes through. There's David Abbott just through shot, leading Class D. Ian Scruton leading Class A, championship leader as well, 20 points clear of Alan Donnelly. Andrew Mollison got the class pole today in Class B, and he's got a 10-point championship lead at the moment over Ken Bateman. So Napolitano now passed by Andrew Foley, who's up to 3rd, and David Elsley challenging for the race lead. Too far back at the moment to do anything about Matt Foley. There is Andrew. As we said, both cars, the Foley cars, prepared by Jason Cooper, former Castle Combe champion, as well as being a Fiesta champion, so expertise should count for something as Elsley goes down the inside and challenges for the lead, side by side. Look at the drifting that happens again. Good, clean, fair racing from the pair. Elsley couldn't get the run out of the corner, and will have to settle at the moment for that second place. So Matt Foley has got the advantage, of course, now, not only being in front, but he doesn't have the spray that the other drivers are putting up, and he won't have that until he gets into lapping back marker territory, which may well happen. So the Foley brothers at the moment have the Elsley meat in the sandwich, so to speak. The Martini stripes on the car identifying that one. David Elsley, the 2009 ST champion, the third champion in the canon of the series. Daniel Rose, the first winner of the championship, Ben Roper in year 2, and David was followed by Jeremy Gumbley, David Grady and Jason Cooper, as we mentioned. And now look at this, Andrew Foley challenging for second, outside line, nose in front as they go across the line. Andrew Foley, it's a Foley 1-2 here at Castle Combe. So will Andrew be able to get away? It's a cracking set of laps from him. David Elsley down to third. Well, if you'd have said that to me at the opening round, Elsley was away with it. Nobody was getting close to him, but the Foley's really got it wrapped up here. Look at the spray, lights on so the drivers can see what's going on. Nick Pope goes through, car number 18, and we go back down the order and try and pick up some of the other class cars. There's Rex Nye in 44, enjoying his race. Joanne Eason back on track as well after the off in the first part, and there in yellow is the Class A leader Ian Scruton, and the black with green car there is the driver in second position in Class B, and that is Alan Donnelly, and behind them we saw the red Z-Tech of Keith Chapman, who to my mind is an absolute master in the wet in leading Class C, the Ford Fiesta Z-Techs. Not Class C, beg your pardon, Class B. Get your facts straight, Neil, for goodness sake. So very difficult conditions here at Combe, which everyone seems to be handling pretty well at the moment. There is David Abbott goes through shot, and Ian Scruton still not too far behind him. Of course, the A, B and D cars having their own races at most events, and we've seen Ian Scruton trying to get as close as he can to David Abbott, but he hasn't managed to beat him thus far. Back with the leaders, Matt Foley leading Andrew. What's the gap between the two? It looks like Matt's probably pulling out a little bit of a lead. Now Lee Napolitano up to third, so David Elsley now down to fourth place. Bobby Thompson, then Simon Horrobin following them. You can see this wonderful circuit. We've got very slight inclines as well as testing corners, the chicanes as well the drivers have to do. Bobby Thompson, oh, there's contact on the back end of David Elsley, and Simon Horrobin goes right in the back as well. Oh no, he's gone over. Thompson's off. Will he recover from that? I hope he's kept the motor running, and let's hope that Horrobin's okay. Here's a replay. On board with Bobby Thompson. A light tap on the back of David Elsley. Now, I don't think that caused any big problems, but there's a bang on the back of Bobby Thompson's 19 car. He goes around. You can see the car wobbling, but it was Horrobin's that went into the tyres and over. And race over, isn't it, for Simon Horrobin? Bobby putting it into gear, and I think getting ready to try and rejoin the race. The marshals, as ever, the wonderful British marshals on the scene very, very quickly indeed. And Simon at the moment not out. There is tyre wall damage, as you can see there, and that suggests to me that that might be the end of the race. But the guys at the front of the field carry on. Matt Foley's still there. Andrew Foley in second. Third place, Lee Napolitano. Then David Elsley. Daniel Holland and Sean Clay down behind them. There is Elsley. Very, very difficult conditions. Dan Holland goes through. Nick Bowers followed by Rory Green. Then Nathan Lawley and Aaron Trigwell. Trigwell at the moment with big red flags out. That's the end of the race. So a truncated 7th race in the championship here at Castle Combe. Matt Foley takes the win. Andrew Foley gets the fastest lap and second place. Then Lee Napolitano and David Elsley. Bobby Thompson classified 5th. Daniel Holland in 6th place. 7th goes to Sean Clay from Nick Bowers, the championship leader. Then Rory Green and Nathan Lawley. Aaron Trigwell 11th and Kevin Sterling in 12th. They're followed by Nick Barton. Charlie Liddell gets a finish from Nick Pope. Ronnie de Bresser in 16th, then Jamie Going and Rex Nye in 18th place, followed by Dawn Boyd, who's the top of the two ladies. Jordan Liddell's next from Curtis Mitchell and Joanne Easton. David Abbott wins Class D again in 23rd. Then it's Simon Roud, followed by Ian Scruton, the Class A winner, ahead of Alan Donnelly. Keith Chapman, another great driver in the wet, to win Class B, ahead of Ken Bateman. Andy Mollison, third in class. He was followed by Peter Dendy Sadler and Mike Hooper in 31st.
Right, Matthew, it was a hard-fought victory there. We had red flags, lots of incidents, and obviously the rain as well. Tell us about it from your point of view.
Well, it was a bit of a 50-50 choice really, to whether it was slicks or wets. Lining up and everything took so long that the decision went from being on slicks to wets, but we were already out there, so we had to make the best of it. Like I said, Bobby Thompson came through. I think he was the only person on the grid with wets on, so I was quite happy in second and leading the group then, but the red flag came out and big rush in to change over to the wet tyres, but luckily we managed to take the win then from that position.
And I can see you've got all the tyres off at the moment. Any changes for the second race?
It's just a waiting game now to see what the weather does, and probably, well, the way things are looking, we'll go out as we come back in last time. It worked last time, hopefully it'll work next time.
David, overall class winner for Class D. Treacherous conditions out there.
Yeah, very interesting. Two-part race. Started off on slicks in a damp track, an increasingly damp track, and then it was red flagged through accident damage. Obviously, then we had a wet start, and there was also accident damage. It was red flagged again. So I'm not sure whether they combined the two races or whether they took the result of the second race. But certainly an interesting race. Quite difficult into the first corner, as you'll see on the in-car cameras.
All right, Andrew, treacherous conditions out there. You had a good tussle with your brother, but unfortunately it was only second place for you.
Yeah, the red flag came out early on and started third, went back to fourth, but the car was fantastic. Really made a difference in the rain. Really happy, to be honest, get back into second place.
And did the red flags help or hinder you?
Helped us in the end, but early on I was happy with the third place, to be honest. Championship rivals a little bit behind us. We've taken some good points out of them.
Yeah, because I believe you joined second with your brother now, aren't you?
Joined second, yeah. Trying to get for first though. That's the main bit.
Okay, in an overall class winner for Class A, in your words, it was messy.
It was very messy, very wet, very messy, very slippery. It was a case of surviving that one, I think, really. Those that came off the track in one piece, fair play. It was very slippery, very slippery.
Did you start it on slicks?
I started on slicks, yeah. I came into the pits and the girls threw 4 tyres over at me and I changed them. Got out of the car and changed them, you know. But I did get back out on track in time without having to start from pit lane, so that was fair play. Yeah.
Heath, winner of Class B in the first race. Treacherous conditions, the rain's still falling. Tell us about it from your point of view.
Yes, it was a bit dodgy because obviously we all went out to start with when it just started to rain. We were all on slicks in the first part of the race. I wasn't doing very well then. I had a spin and dropped to the back, and so it was probably fortunate that it did stop it so that we could change tyres. Because then when we went back out with the wet tyres on, it was obviously a lot better. It felt a completely different car, and fortunately just managed to pull away from everybody else and get the win in the end.
Some of the biggest upheavals in American sports is in the world of motor racing, especially sports car racing. There's mergers, new series being proposed, audiences coming and going, drivers getting younger and younger. That's why you need the Racing Insiders on MAV TV to help you navigate the turmoil. The Racing Insiders is a new, weekly, 30-minute news show covering sports car racing, whether it's being done professionally, globally, or by the local grassroots club. Award-winning journalist Bill Wood will host the weekly discussions, along with race-winning insiders Peter Keene in Florida and Jim Daniels in Tennessee. It's a fast-paced, edgy sports show. They'll even reach out to guest insiders to bring you behind-the-scenes insider information you'll want to know. This new era in sports car racing needs the Racing Insiders.
The Racing Insiders on MAV TV, Thursdays at 2 and 5 p.m. Eastern, and again on Saturdays at noon.
Well, considering the conditions, Sam, you were having a pretty good race up until the point you went off. Tell us a bit about it from your point of view.
Well, the car was coming on strong, and the tyres just come in nicely. And obviously we went down the end of the straight there. There was a white car in front of me. They had a bit of a coming together with the silver one. Basically, I just went right to the inside. It felt like I clipped the inside curb and then just went sideways, and basically there was nowhere to go because they were already tussling and they were already sideways. And I ended up just clipping the tyre wall.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a huge impact. It looked almost in slow motion. So
it was, yeah. It was only 20 mile an hour, 30 mile an hour. I wouldn't say it was any faster than that. It was so slow, and it just rolled up on its edge, So.
I can see your mechanics working very hard to get it back up and running.
Yeah, that'll be up. It will be there. It only done very superficial damage. They're only plastic on the front of these. So a new bumper on the front or a second-hand bumper just get us out in the next race. Radiator, and we'll be back out.
And Simon is back out. There he is, left of shot. These little cars are durable. The drivers are up for anything as well. Great to see him back out. And of course, it emphasises the safety side of motorsport. Everyone was okay. Pole position in race 2. Matt Foley, his brother Andrew on the front alongside him. Then Lee Napolitano and David Elsley. Bobby Thompson and Dan Holland on row 3. 4th row, Sean Clay, Nick Bowers, then Rory Green and Nathan Lawley. Aaron Trigwell 11th, and alongside him is Kevin Sterling in car 53. Nick Barton's next, then the poleman from race 1, Charlie Liddell. Nick Pope and Ronnie DeBressa on row 8, followed by Jamie Going and Rex Knight in 44. Dawn Boyd, the ladies' pole. Then it's Jordan Annells, Curtis Mitchell and Joanne Eason. David Abbott for Class D, Simon Roud next to him. Then it's Ian Scruton, the Class A pole, Alan Donnelly alongside. Then Keith Chapman, the Class B pole, Ken Bateman next to him, followed by Andrew Mollison and Peter Dendy-Sadler. Mike Hooper, Simon Horrobin and Sagir Hussain, the 2 non-finishers from race number 1 part 2, starting at the back, and there they are. So Simon with a fair bit of work to do. Conditions, shall we say, more agreeable in this one. A little bit of rolling at the start from Simon Horrobin. I'm sure the officials are probably going to be looking at the front, but he's certainly not going to gain a big advantage from the back of the field. Cracking start from Matt Foley. Andrew Foley in second position. Still plenty of water sitting around on track. This is the view from Dawn Boyd. Dawn, who had an incident at Rockingham and I think was questioning whether to come back. So glad she has, and I bet she is too, coming to race at Castle Combe. First time for a couple of years that we've been here. Look how busy things get in this opening lap. Past Sean Clay on the inside. Great move by Dawn. Past Ronnie DeBressa as well, side by side with the Danoff car. Great bit of in-car footage from Dawn Boyd, but it's the Foley brothers tied in second place in the championship who shared the front row, and they've got a great start. Lee Napolitano there in third in blue. Then it's David Elsley. Coming up is Nick Bowers. We've got a car off the circuit and rejoins. Jordan Annells goes through in car number 5. Simon Horrobin making progress. Ronnie DeBressa smoking heavily, and it looks like he's lost a couple of places on board with Dawn Boyd. Dawn still running very well indeed. Charlie Liddell goes off once again. Disappointment for Charlie, and I think a problem there as well for Joanne Eason. Nick Barton in 28, former Z-Tech Championship. There is Charlie Liddell's car. He's got it back on. He's had a very battle-scarred car this weekend, and you can see him just working the car side to side to see if the handling's been affected at all. And here's 2 cars that don't have any affected handling at all. The Foley brothers. Matt still leading. Andrew in second position, chasing him hard, and closer to him in this one than he was in race 1. So Andrew Foley starting to put the pressure on. Andrew, remember, got the fastest lap of the race in the first one. And a problem there, Ronnie DeBressa. Charlie Liddell comes into the very narrow pit lane here at Castle Combe, and I think into retirement. So not the happiest of weekends for Charlie at the end after taking a superb pole position. So back with the Foley brothers out front, and Andrew still, I think, trying to close in on his brother Matt. An overtake's going to be the difficult thing. It was difficult in the wet race number 1. Nathan Lawley going well, Rory Green, and then Sagir Hussain. Simon Horrobin cutting his way through the field and having a good run, but it's still the Foleys out front at the moment. Matt leading Andrew, David Elsley challenging for third place. Looks up the inside of Aaron Trigwell. He's a little bit far back to do anything on that at the moment as the cars come through the last corner, Camp Corner, and onto the main straight. Elsley plants the car down the inside. He's had a better run along the main straight and goes through as they come into Tower. Charlie Liddell coming back out to join the circuit. Doesn't get involved in the mix for the lead. Good driving from Charlie, keeping to the outside of the track. And he allows the front runners to go through. But David Elsley, great move. Set up with a terrific run through Camp Corner along the main straight down towards Tower to take third position, and now needs to set off after the Foley brothers. There is Nick Bowers in 51 looking up the inside of Lee Napolitano as well. So the drier conditions seem to be coming into the favour of the championship front runners, and there's the championship leader in green up to fourth. So Elsley, who runs I think fourth or fifth in the championship after the first race, waiting on confirmation of the points. Here's Lee Napolitano. So Nick Bowers at the moment in front of him in the number 51 car. Of course, Nick having had 2 wins so far this year, and an 8th position in race number 1. Lee Napolitano in car number 24 had a fastest lap at Snetterton and 2nd position in the 2nd race there. Followed that up with a DNF at Silverstone, so he'll be pleased with his pace here as Matt Foley comes under pressure from Andrew. Look at that, you can't see him at the moment. Andrew eclipsed by his brother out front, but very much the battle for lead position on. Now the brothers need to be careful here, because if Matt has to get defensive, it's going to slow the pair of them up. But Andrew's going for the lead, looks through on the inside line, and there isn't room there, so Matt Foley hangs on to it, and David Elsley may well be closing up. So Elsley in the 39 car, the driver who won the first 3 races of the year and 3 fastest laps as well, really getting on the case. On board with Andrew Foley again, into the chicane. Right, left, right, they come out of the chicane. Still in front is Matt Foley. A terrific win for him in the 82 car. First win of the season, took the fastest lap the round before. So both of these brothers very, very quick drivers, and well, the championship stat of them both sharing 2nd position on points at the moment bears that out. But David Elsley goes through into 2nd. David Elsley, the former champion, goes through into 2nd position. He splits the Foleys, and that's what we were predicting might happen. Well, whether it's because they were dicing and losing speed remains to be seen, but now we'll get a straight fight between Elsley, who's all over the back of Matt Foley, turns one way, then the other, dives down the inside as they go through Camp Corner, gets it all sideways. Foley's off on the dirt, back on track. Elsley still side by side, up across the line they go. Who's going to get down into Foley for the first time? Elsley's got the inside line, and surely is going to take the lead. Andrew Foley's trying to get in the mix as well. Nick Bowers there, a quartet for first position here. Down into Avon Rise and Quarry, and David Elsley has got the lead. Matt Foley runs very wide, off onto the grass. He's lost 2nd, he's lost 3rd, he's down to 4th position. And Lee Napolitano down behind him. Matt Foley is going to be furious with himself for that, but it's Elsley leading and muscling his way up into 2nd place goes the championship leader, Nick Bowers. He lost points in race number 1, but he's making them up here. So Bowers up into 2nd, Andrew Foley down to 3rd, and the Foley brothers have lost out. The front row was annexed. This is what Fiesta Racing's all about. They may have been on the front, but they've lost out in the race. They came through, they weren't on the front in race 1, they got up to the front and took the key positions, and in this one they've lost out. So Matt Foley, after his trip into the foliage, is fighting hard now in 4th position and will try and fight back from that. It's a cracking race. Dan Holland now starting to close in on Lee Napolitano. Down the white car with the green trim, the red roof, goes through as well. Nicholas Pope having a good race, the blue and orange car. Bobby Thompson is the car I think behind him, the red car with the white stripe. So the number 19 machine having a reasonable recovery in this one after he was one of the 2 drivers that went off, you might remember, at the end of race number 1. If you're wondering why Bobby was in the result goes back to the lap before the incident. So Charlie Liddell's battle-scarred car comes back into pit lane. Clearly Charlie is not happy with it. The reigning junior champion looks like he's out of the race. So David Elsley, this is a big return to form for Elsley. Had an exclusion earlier on in the season for an exhaust irregularity, and that particular was in qualifying, which knocked him way down the order. Big sideways moment for Andrew Foley. Now the meeting concerned for David Elsley, got 15th and 16th, and then bounced back at Silverstone, edging his way back up the order. So to get back into the lead of the race is a big thing for him. So he's running well. Nick Bowers in second. Then Andrew Foley followed by Matt. Daniel Holland goes through and running well. Then Nick Pope coming towards us. And that's Sagir Hussain having a great run in car number 1. The Danov Vodka car really running well and chasing Bobby Thompson down the home straight and in towards Smalley. So Sagir, who had a bit of a nightmare in the first race, really showing his mettle here. Some good race driving and racecraft from him, climbing him up the positions. Jordan Els goes through it, car number 5, followed by Curtis Mitchell in 23. 42 going through shot is Dawn Boyd. Right the way down the order, 94 in the mix as well. Aaron Trigwell further back than he would like to be. There is the race leader of Class A, Ian Scruton. So Ian Scruton ahead of, in fact it's Alan Donnelly ahead of Ian Scruton at the moment. So very close racing going on right the way down the classes here at Castle Combe. Join us after the break for the conclusion of round 8.
Want to keep up with all the racing action at the track? Well, download the new Go Racing TV iPhone and Android app. And remember to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Welcome back to round 8 of the Vortex Dunlop Ford Fiesta Championship, and we're looking at the class battle for Class A. It's Alan Donnelly in green and black leading Ian Scruton, the yellow and red car. Ronnie De Bresser is a backmarking Class C ST Fiesta. He's going to try and work his way past. He's got the faster car. We're on board with Ian Scruton, looking at the class leader, and De Bresser goes through, slices past. Scruton's going to try and use the opportunity to pass as well, but he hasn't got enough momentum to follow through on the inside. And Alan Donnelly hangs on to class lead into the chicane. Scruton still putting the pressure on. It's not just the Class C boys that have the fun and games of racing. There's someone to be competitive with all the way down the grid. And I think I'm right in saying that I saw the D-Class Fiesta behind them, so these two guys have got themselves ahead of David Abbott for the moment, so might even be a first for this year if we get the two cars finishing ahead of David Abbott. The D car mainly noted for its handling on the corners, and this track perhaps more of a fast speed circuit rather than one where you require lots of twists and turns, but there are certainly enough twists and turns on the Castle Combe circuit to keep things interesting as we go back and watch the Foley brothers dicing over third place. Andrew in white third, blue and yellow car, race 1 winner Matt Foley is in 4th place at the moment, and up ahead of them David Elsley and championship leader Nick Bowers, both out front. Coming into the round, it was Bowers leading the championship from Andrew Foley and Matt Foley, so Matt equaling his brother as you heard in the interview. David Elsley 4th and Lee Napolitano 5th in the championship in terms of Class C. Now Matt Foley closing up on his brother, gets within half a car's length or so, back down the order. Dawn Boyd in the green 42 car chasing Aaron Trigwell in 94 with Rex Nye, that's the red car, following on. And then I think Rory Green in the green appropriately car number 63 behind them, but Rex Nye looking to try and pass Dawn Boyd at the moment. Side by side they go. Dawn's going to have the inside line for the next corner, but Rex has already got across and made up the position. And now coming up the inside, Simon Roud, that is, in 91, makes the manoeuvre there on 94, Aaron Trigwell. Good to see some shot of Simon Roud going. There goes David Elsley through. Keith Chapman, I think, running second at the moment in class in the red car, the older Fiesta Z-Tech going through shot as well. So into backmarker territory here. Andrew Foley coming under pressure now from Dan Holland, who's got past Matt Foley. So Dan starting to pick them off. Started in 6th position and now up into 4th and really putting the pressure on. Holland's got his car hooked up well. Difficult for him now. He's got to try and deal with a car that's pretty much equal and the slower cars as well. And he looks the outside line. Dan Holland goes through. Very well timed move. Then down the inside of Andrew Mollison. Next target 55, Ken Bateman. Bateman's to the outside of the track. Good driving from Bateman and Mollison. Those two dicing over the Class B lead. On board with Andrew Foley through the backmarking drivers as ever they do in the championship, behaving themselves really, really well. Great track etiquette from them. And Andrew Foley finds himself now behind Dan Holland. So it's David Elsley leading. Nick Bowers in 2nd. Dan Holland up onto the podium in car number 9. Now this is very significant for Dan Holland. It's significant because he hasn't had a podium finish yet. His first season of Fiesta racing and his best result so far. 4th place in round 5 at Silverstone. So a podium, and he's got fastest lap. Holland's got fastest lap as well, and potentially closing in on the race leaders. So it's Elsley from Bowers and Holland the quickest car from 6th on the grid up to 3rd. So he's proved he can overtake, and he's done it in traffic as well. There he is. This is real notice of intent from Dan Holland. Now, has he left it too late to close in on the lead pair? The main two drivers that we expected to be fighting over the championship at the early point of the season. This man, David Elsley, who won the opening 3 races, and Nick Bowers, who's behind him. Elsley's got a good lead, I've got to say, at the moment, over Nick Bowers. And Nick's the one that's going to be looking in his mirrors. There is Bowers, lights ablaze. Dan Holland, you can see going through shot as well. David Abbott, the next target for the race leader to be able to lap. There is the black Z-Tech S in front, dicing at the moment with Ian Scruton, so it looks like Alan Donnelly's just in front of those, so it's a 3-way scrap, and those guys have been scrapping for tarmac pretty much all season. Off goes Nick Barton. Glances the tyres, the 28 car I think is okay. Let's hope it's not a non-finish. Started his season with a non-finish at Rockingham, but he's back on track, rejoins. Perhaps a little dent on the car, maybe an even smaller one on the ego, but he's rejoined. He's a good pilot, is Nick Barton, and gets back on circuit. So Nick in the 28 car rejoins. There's Joanne Eason going through, then Alan Donnelly, Ian Scruton. Here's the race leader, David Elsley, about to lap David Abbott. These two, of course, raced against each other in Class C over several seasons, and Elsley, as we would expect, the faster Class C car goes through. So although he got into the lead, worked hard to get into the lead, but the work's not done, is it? Because you've still got to negotiate backmarker traffic, and it's a real battle going on ahead of them. The Class A battle's alive. Scruton all over the back of Alan Donnelly. He's trying to go through. This is the view from David Abbott. Elsley goes past Scruton. That really has sort of defused the Class A battle for the moment. I'm sure it's going to resume once Elsley goes through and past them. So David Elsley manages to get past the 2 Class A cars, involved in their own battle, and again they've let him through, and now they can resume. David Abbott trying to close down on them. Smooth style from the Surrey-based driver, a veteran, a very well respected and regarded driver, and you can see why. Pioneering this Class D car, and I'm sure that's going to be the future of Fiesta racing. But David Elsley still working his way through the mix, and now chasing Joanne Eason, who's running down in 23rd place. Joanne, so good to see her out. The WDE Motorsport car, just under 2 miles to go now for David Elsley, side by side with Joanne Eason, gets his nose in front. Nick Barton is the car in front, the man we saw having the moment off the circuit. I'm not sure whether David's going to have enough pace to be able to lap Nick by the end of this one, but it looks to me at the moment as if David Elsley is going to bag his 4th win. He won the first 3 races, 3 fastest laps still with Dan Holland in this one, but Elsley looks like he's going to take his 4th win of the season. It's been a great drive. There in green is Nick Bowers, the championship leader. He's running in 2nd, so more very good, useful points for Nick Bowers in the 51 machine. 2 wins for him. This is going to be his 3rd other podium to add to the 2 wins, so he's been very fast, very consistent. David Elsley coming down into Bobby's for the last time. Now, is he going to get past Nick Barton or not? I reckon he may well do before the flag. Said he might not have done before that. Ronnie de Bresser is the car ahead of these. So Elsley does put the lap on Nick Barton. Nick not having the best of races after he's off earlier on. But he'll get it home to the finish, as does David Elsley, win number 4 of the 2013 campaign, the most successful driver in terms of wins. It's Nick Bowers along the line for second. Here comes the battle for Class A. And up across the line they go. And it looks like Ian Scruton managed to get the better of Alan Donnelly. So it was a very close battle right the way through the race for the Class A boys. Now Class B, I think, is going to go the way of Ken Bateman in the 55 car. So Ken will take another win this weekend. Keith swapping places in this race with Keith Chapman. It's been a cracking race, a good weekend, a frustrating first race with that two-parter. And let's take a look at the result. There, through shot, go the winners of Class B, Ken Bateman in the white and red car ahead of Keith Chapman. So those two swapping over for this one. But confirmation of the result. David Elsley, it is, that takes the win. 4th win of the season for him. 2nd place going to Nick Bowers. 3rd is Dan Holland, who takes a fastest lap in the race as well. His first podium, his first fastest lap too. Congratulations. Andrew Foley 4th from Matt. Then it was Sean Clay. Lena Politano in 7th from Nathan Lawley and Nick Pope. Simon Horrobin, great drive from the back into 10th. Another good drive too from Sagir Hussain in 11th place. And then Jordan Annells. Rex Nye 13th from Aaron Trigwell. Bobby Thompson next. Then Curtis Mitchell and Simon Roud. Dawn Boyd again, winning the battle of the two ladies in 18th. 19th was Jamie Going. Then Kevin Sterling and Ronnie de Bresser. Nick Barton 22nd ahead of Joanne Eason. Class A honours to Ian Scruton ahead of Alan Donnelly. Those two beating David Abbott this time, who takes Class D. Ken Bateman wins B ahead of Keith Chapman. Then Andrew Mollison and Mike Hooper in 30th place, with Peter Dendy Sadler in 31st.
Okay, David, well, you came 4th in the first race, which is an accomplishment on its own considering the conditions. For the second race, you've gone for a mixed setup for slicks on the front and wets on the dry. Seems to be a winning combo.
Absolutely. I haven't used this particular combination for quite a while, and I certainly gave the boys a bit of a hard time when we were in the paddock. We made some changes between a full kind of wet setup that we used for race 1 and the kind of intermediate setup that we used for this second race. And it was kind of one of those setups where once you've made it, you can't really go back on the grid. So some fairly major changes. But I mean, everyone in the BCS team really came through today, and look where we've ended up, top step.
I know, and considering the size of the grid, it's quite an accomplishment.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, after the 3 wins at the start of the year, we've had a little bit of a dip in our season. Obviously the DNF at Snetterton and a couple of issues at Silverstone. But to come back to Castle Combe, haven't been here since 2009. Lovely circuit, very fast and flowing. Kind of the home circuit for our main sponsor BCS as well. So really, really good to have a nice solid result in the first race and go out and take the top step of the podium in race 2.